to another exhilarating episode of Sticks and Skins. I am Dr. Corey Dungan. This is Lawrence Foster, who we both happen to be wearing green today in support of the Baylor Bears. How
Mm,
awesome is that, Lawrence? So before I let
yeah.
Lawrence use any of his words, today we're going to be talking about video games. We're going to be talking about some of our favorite franchises, some recent games coming out, and then tomorrow we will do another mock draft for the NFL, just based on the various trades and whatnot that's happened in the combine. And so I'll let Lawrence kick it off. We're going to start with the new Legend of Zelda game, Tears of the Kingdom, that comes out next month, May 12th. Lawrence, first
Yeah,
talk
like
about your experience with the first one, and then jump into this one.
like we're giving an overview like where we think our favorite game franchises are. Zelda being one for both of us for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
I know you big time everything.
Because I am big
Um
time.
um yeah, to be honest, and you know this, the Zelda for the Switch was just for me when it first came out, it did not click with me. And I'm not the only one. Like if you go and read about people's thoughts on a Breath of the Wild, um, it was such a departure from what Zelda had been,
Mm-hmm.
and it took until literally end of last year for me to finally beat the game. Maybe I was in like a better place gaming wise, where I was able to deal with it. Just to me, like it was, I had to get over the fact of like my weapons broke.
Yeah,
That
I
was
recall
like
that
the
being a
biggest thing to me.
Yeah, I think honestly that was probably the biggest thing for a lot of people, and it took me, I don't know, a couple hours to get used to it. But it was just such a good story, and because as Nintendo likes to do it their own way. I just thought it really neat that you could go and take on Ganon from the very start of the game. I mean, the
Mhm.
odds of you beating him were pretty slim, um, but people do it, and they did. I don't know. I just
Yeah.
felt overall it was a good story, but yeah, the that particular mechanic was semi annoying, and it looks like that mechanic is back in this new one.
Yeah, and I mean they're building upon it, and but it is like you said, it is good that Nintendo always they try to innovate with everything, their consoles, their handhelds.
Mm-hmm.
Now they're starting to do it with their main franchises, and like I don't know if you've ever watched. I've actually watched videos of people who just go right after Ganon from the start. And it's crazy to see them actually succeed
Mm-hmm.
at it, but
Yeah, you definitely can't
I think
suck.
now like that I've beaten it'll be just like, all right,
Old
I'll be
times.
fine with this one. And again, like they're not just resting on their laurels; they're changing a decent amount of what's going on. Like the map
Mm-hmm.
looks pretty much the same, but it's gonna have it offer a far more verticality and like kind of weapon crafting. So I think you're gonna see
Yeah,
a
that
lot
was
of
cool.
create people who are creative being able to really combine things and do things in a pretty fun and interesting way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
So I mean, like, I know you're a bigger fan of the Breath of the Wild than me. Sorry, like, are you liking that they're just kind of taking the next step with it, or because sequels aren't really something Zelda does?
No, but I was honestly thrilled when it was going to be a sequel, just because I really did like this game. Um, just once I got over the whole like weapons breaking thing, I thought it was fun. The mechanics were good. The game played well. The story was great. I mean, maybe for me because I had so when that game came out, that was about the time that me and my daughter started to really, you know, or I can't say we, she started to figure out video games, and this particular Zelda, the Breath of the Wild, was like the first game she really fell in love with, and she played it a ton. I mean, she's definitely better at it than I am, knows all the secrets, and so for me,
Mm-hmm.
that's what I don't know. I guess I have that side of it attached to it, and why I am looking forward to this one coming out is because I will get to play it with her, and we'll get to, now she's old enough, she's 8.5, and so we'll be able to, play it together and talk about it and strategize. Now, hey, how'd you beat this? What did you do
Mm-hmm.
next? Whereas, before it was me just teaching her and showing her how to play. So I'm excited for it because I did like the first one so much, but also because I do have that like personal connection with my daughters. But no, I liked it. I thought it was different, but as I said, it looked good. It played well, and
It is a
yeah,
rarity that, I mean, the Switch is going to be getting 2 Zelda games in its life cycle.
sure. And that honestly is my only caveat. I'm sure this is what people have said. I know you and I have said it for so long, right? Where if Nintendo actually went and they, excuse me, just farted. Got him. If they would actually just go and make hardware that was comparable to the PS5 or the Xbox. I even forget like what it's called. Xbox. It's not the Series
Series
X.
X. It
X,
is a
right?
Series X. Yep.
But if they made hardware comparable to that, like how? I mean, because that was already great. It was already huge, using what the Switch had to offer. And so I'll give Nintendo all the credit in the world of utilizing every ounce of power that the Switch could put out. Um, but man, how awesome would these games be? Would a Zelda game, would a Mario game be if you could, take it up a notch in terms of the hardware and play it on one of these, other consoles? But
Yeah,
overall,
and to
go ahead.
play off that, to play off what you're saying about we've had those conversations, Nintendo's all about innovating.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they need to take the approach of what more could we do with these games with the extra horsepower those other systems have.
100%.
Like, so it would help them. Like, yeah, maybe their console itself wouldn't be gimmicky like they always seem to try to do,
Yeah.
but their games would benefit greatly because they have fantastic ideas with their main franchises,
Dude, tell me
being
they
able to
would.
take them the next step.
Yeah, tell me they would not make it. It's because so as you said that made me think of their online presence has never been there. Like we
No,
have never played on like we played obviously PlayStation, Xbox, PC. We have never done online Switch other than maybe like once or twice when we tried like Mario
and
Kart.
well, let's go over quickly how we did that. We had to connect via play. We turned on our PlayStation 4s, went on game chat on that, then went onto the Switch to be able to pair up with Mario Kart.
Mm-hmm.
That's how big of a hassle it
Yeah,
is.
and
Yeah.
so I know we're going down a bit of a tangent here, but no, that would be. I mean, that would be awesome if they finally had a Nintendo system that sure make it just like the Switch, but like have the dock part actually have some hardware in it where if you
Hmm.
dock it, it is a bit more powerful, so you can have the online presence because that honestly is what Nintendo has always missed. Whether it's been because the games have been great, Pokemon's great, Mario's great, Zelda's great, they're all awesome. Like their titles, Metroid, are rock stars. But man,
Yeah.
if you could increase that presence and I mean, and I know they would never do this, but make them cross-platform. Gosh, how much money could you make from Sony and Nintendo, or Nintendo, Xbox, not Microsoft, for having those on there? But yeah,
Well,
no
I mean,
Zelda.
and it's not really a tangent. Like, today's episode is about like the state of our franchises, and the first two we're talking about, Zelda and Mario, would benefit from everything you're saying.
Yeah,
So I mean, like, how could Nintendo continue to innovate? Well, there's your online, create an online presence.
yeah. Because I'm already paying like for some online service, and I ultimately have no idea. I don't know why I'm paying for, other than I get to play retro games and I have cloud saving, which I
Right.
mean, I don't play the retro games just because I've realized that sort of like you never want to meet your heroes. Don't play those games that you have fond memories of. The only one that's survived that for me is Final Fantasy VII because like the emotional tie is that strong. But all the other ones, I played them again. I'm like, wow, this sucks. We just didn't know any better. That's why it was good. Like the yeah.
Yeah,
Anyways,
back in the day they were fine.
yeah. But no, I anticipate this new Zelda being, another 10 out of 10, 9 out of 10 at the worst. At least for me,
Yeah.
I will totally let my bias creep in and make it better than what it actually is. But no, I expect nothing less than just continued excellence from Nintendo when it comes to Zelda. It feels like games like Zelda, games like Mario, they really put them through their paces, and it's likely why we only see one every like once a cycle, once every 4 or 5 years, is because they're so thoroughly made, from not having glitches to just
Hmm.
being well written and making sense to looking great to optimizing. I mean, that's one thing I'll give Nintendo a ton of credit is that like because their games are on cartridges. I know that they still do updates, but you don't find nearly as many glitches when with Nintendo like first party games
Yeah.
as you do with some of the other ones. So, but yeah, not really looking forward to this
No,
one.
yeah, no, that's what their money maker is. They know their first party ones, like all the ones you mentioned earlier, are why people continually buy the underpowered online apps and
Yeah.
systems, is because Mario and Zelda. Well, and you talk about like emotional ties to things. For people our age, this was gaming.
Mm-hmm.
Like that was the start of the from the video game crash of the 80s. It was Mario that brought the video game world back, and Zelda is back, and they continue to always innovate and push things.
Yeah.
And I mean, that'll bring us to our next game on our list is franchise is Mario.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, you look at Nintendo's the Switch's launch. My goodness, Odyssey and Breath of the Wild. It couldn't in that launch window for them.
Oh, I know. Yeah, that was probably one of the best launches I think ever. I mean, again, I talk about another game that I have so much connection to. It is Mario Odyssey. Like I played that by myself and got. I didn't get all. I think there's 800 or 1,000 moons. I didn't get them all.
Yeah.
I've gotten 700 or 800 of them.
Mm,
But just that was one where between Zelda and Mario, because I was there, two different styles of play, two different everything. But that's what I taught my daughter on and how to like play video games. And Mario, just like with Zelda, she destroys me. Like she like Mario Odyssey, she is the best. I mean, she's kills it at 8.5. And so no, I love these franchises. I think they're so good just in terms of them being really fun to play, them being great for kids, but also adults, right? Like,
mm-hmm.
I can play Zelda. Granted, there are some scarier parts to it, but everything has. If you have a bad guy, you have something scary. Hate to break it
Right.
to you. But no, like I love these franchises. Unfortunately, Mario, we probably won't get the next one until the subsequent console comes out. But no, Mario Odyssey was such a good that and Mario Odyssey, Paper Mario, Mario. I mean, gosh, there's been so many. Hang on a second, let me just Google that. You can talk. I'm gonna look up something quick.
Yeah, and I think you're probably right that it won't come to whatever the successor of the Switch is. But like, I want to try to think about like what will be the thing that they do next with Mario.
Mm-hmm.
Like this time it was the hat and being able to take over and like certain characters or using it to transport or things. So like, what is going to be their next thing with that? Like that's always the thing in Nintendo.
So I'll say two things. One, and this is not what I was originally going to say, but to your point, I honestly, and maybe this is just me, I would not care what one single iota if they remade like Mario 64, like a true remake, Mario Sunshine, Mario Galaxy. Those were all super. I mean, I think Mario Sunshine does not get enough love. That was a fun game. Um,
I think
so
it's like
this,
Zelda, like Breath of the Wild, where it was with the flood system was such a departure from what Mario had been. I think probably just like that, it kind of received hate just because it's not what we're used to. But you're right, it was a lot of fun on the GameCube.
all right, so the Mario games that have come out for the Switch that I think are awesome. So first, Mario Kart. I mean, that this is like the only one that they've sort of like recycled in
Mm-hmm.
terms of this one being on the Wii U, and maybe even also the Wii. I don't even remember. But Mario Kart 8, obviously Mario Odyssey, Mario 3D World, another game that is a ton of fun. If no one has played that yet, I've played that a lot with my daughter. Mario Rabbids, that's more of an RPG. Mario Party, all of those ones are super fun. Mario Brothers U Deluxe, that was great. Luigi, not Mario, but still same thing. Luigi's Mansion, Yoshi's Crafted Tour, Toad. I mean, that franchise, and I lump Yoshi and Luigi and Toad, Mario Maker, all of those into the same sort of like vein. Paper Mario, Origami Kingdom. Like there actually has been a ton of Mario games, but yeah, Mario Odyssey I think was just the best one. It was a really fun game. Love the music too.
Yeah, the music is fantastic. Like, and it's a platform, but like levels are so different the way you have to tackle them.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and like nothing ever grows stale. And I know I've only beaten it once. I usually only beat games once. I know you went through how
Oh
many
yeah, I
times?
played that quite a few times, and it's really good. Ooh.
So like that speaks to like just the level design and stuff. Like you wouldn't waste time on something that is monotonous.
Yeah.
Like that's something like we as gamers, as we've gotten older, is like we'll bite the bullet. Like we can. How much money have we spent on game, and like a day later, like, yep, that's garbage.
I think you and I probably spend, and this is no brag, it's more, I'm honestly proud of it because I knowing as a kid, it was like you get one game every few
Yeah.
months, right? But
Mm-hmm.
I bet you and I spend probably $1,500 a year, if not more, on probably actually closer to 2 grand if you include like headsets and controllers and all that nonsense. And that's no
Yeah.
brag, it's just more, I think it's one, dope that we're able to do it, but two, I mean, yeah, we play a lot of video games.
No, I mean that's my release. I mean, I know you
Yeah,
kind of just veg and relax playing that, and
yeah.
I mean it's an interact like when video games are done the right way, like Mario's story and Zelda's story, like it engrosses you in a way not any other mediums can't. You're controlling what happens on the screen. Everything else is a passive watch. Like even the best TV shows, the best movies,
Mm-hmm.
you're just watching what someone else has done. And that's why video games are so fantastic is you get for the best one, you get the storytelling, you get it looks good, but
Mm-hmm.
you also are controlling what happens on the screen.
Yep.
And that's where Nintendo is fantastic is you mentioned like, oh, there's like they don't have game breaking glitches, which I don't know how I run into them all the time. Like I've tried to beat Assassin's Creed Valhalla twice and gotten about 40 hours in each time, and I've given up. but but so yeah, Nintendo knows what it's doing. Just I think we both would like. I mean, can't they maybe cut the cycle down a little bit? It's been 6 years since Odyssey. Can't they
Yeah,
do it like five?
but I mean, here's the thing: like they also release other Nintendo games. Like I said, if you haven't
Yeah,
played Mario 3D World, that is a fun game to play.
no, they're fun.
But
And like I know, did you play Rabbids?
yeah, I liked it. Coral didn't so much because it's a little bit. It, I think there is a role playing element to it. She didn't love it.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, but no, I mean, I think the reason why is because Nintendo knows what sells, right? They'll give us a second Zelda, for which I would imagine it will likely leak its way into the newest one. But I would dare say they're not stupid, right? And they're not going to say, okay,
Mm-hmm.
well, we're going to hold this new Mario for the release of our new console. And if they're smart, they'll do it a year or two before PS5 or
I mean,
then
if we're being
maybe then you
honest
can buy a
too,
PS5.
they're 6 years in. They gotta be like,
Getting close.
yeah, the whatever the new thing is gotta be within 2 to 3 years, I would imagine, because at that point you're reaching a decade on an already underpowered. I mean, they don't care about power, but at some point they're gonna have to.
No, I mean, and don't get me wrong. How many times have you and I said that we wish the PlayStation had a portable module? I think having a bigger,
Yeah.
like, I love their design. Like, I love the idea behind it. I really do. I just
Mm-hmm.
wish that the dock itself had components that if you docked it, it became a more powerful unit. Because
Yeah.
that's my biggest thing. Is that I know it'll pull more power when it's docked, but and it'll unlock some semblance of increased power, but I would love an appreciable difference.
Mm-hmm. So I mean, Nintendo's in a good spot. If they start saving the next mainline Mario game for their new console, they'll. I mean, that thing will be hard to get.
Well, somebody, whether it's Nintendo or a scalper, will have my money.
Yeah, yeah. And you and I talk like we would be fine like every 4 or 5 years. Keep giving us upgrades,
Yeah. Or better yet, just allow us to upgrade the system. Like, oh, hey, like switch
right?
out this thing, like this, just pull out this and push in this. There we go. You have the next gen Switch or the next,
That would be
whatever.
awesome if they could do that.
Like, that would, like, future proofing things, that would be, which is, I think why you and I
Mhm.
like the PC aspect of things now is because we're able to switch out
Yeah.
pieces versus the entire thing.
Yep. And maybe that should be a future topic for the sticks part of our show. Is like now I think we're the PC versus console gaming. Anyway, that was some good Nintendo talk. You already brought this game up when you talked about like an emotional tie to it, the franchise anyway. Final Fantasy. They got the next numbered entry coming out this year. I'll say a little bit about it because this is your. I just started getting into Final Fantasy when they started to change how it was played.
I think you're gonna like this next one.
Yeah, I think I will too. I really like the last numbered entry. I am not a turn-based game player. That's just one genre I've tried countless times. I just cannot get into it. So I'll speak a little bit on it, then you can take it off because I know that's yours. The numbered Final Fantasy looks like it's going to be fantastic. More gameplay like the last one.
Mm-hmm.
I imagine all the Final Fantasy probably have pretty good stories like the last one did. But I was surprised, like the Final Fantasy VII remake. I really like that, but it seems like it was such a small part. But my God, how they're doing the episodes, like it's gonna be PlayStation 7 by the time that thing is finished. So take it from there.
Okay, well, one I'll start with. So there's a couple of Final Fantasies coming out. So obviously Final Fantasy 16, for which you come out June 22nd. That one, like I said, I think you're gonna like a lot just because it's, I think, rated M. So there's a lot of violence in there. So that looks really good. The one that came out relatively recently, about a year ago, Final Fantasy Origins, or Final Fantasy Stranger Paradise. I didn't love that one. I think it got decent reviews and most people liked it. I just couldn't end up beating it. You and I played Final Fantasy 14 on the PlayStation twice, but we never ended up finishing it because it was such a long game.
It is. It's fun though.
Yep, and then there's coming April 19th. There's like the 1 through 6 Pixel collection coming to the PlayStation and the Switch. But yes, so let's talk about Final Fantasy 7. So the Final Fantasy 7, 8, 9, 10, 10-2, 12, those were the games that I grew up playing. Final Fantasy 7 especially, I must have played that like completely through dozens of times. And so yeah, you're right. Like when I went and got through it and I got to the end, I mean, the game was awesome, right? It was so nostalgic of seeing those things that you saw as a kid that were super pixelated. All the characters had hooves instead of hands, and to actually seeing in a way what I would imagine that my 8, 10, however year old imagination had it look like. It was great to actually see it. But then when you beat the game and you get to the end, and the game's been out for a while, so if this is a spoiler, sucks to suck. But you beat Sephiroth, and then they make it so the later events, like when you go to Calm, and everything afterwards, Junon to, oh gosh, what's the other name of the man?
It would help if I knew the.
Yeah, but either way, they made it so that like Aerith, it potentially doesn't die, and so one, I didn't like that. Like, just remake it. Don't change it. It was, I thought, perfect the way that it was. But two, having 3 games. I mean, granted, the game they released, it was a full game, right? It didn't seem like there was a lot of extra stuff to do. It was a fully game.
As somebody who doesn't know anything about Final Fantasy VII, I thought, like, I didn't know any like them changing anything. It felt like a complete game to me as somebody who has no idea about the whole game.
Sure, no, and it did, and so I can't fault them for that. I just, if it's more than 3 games, it'll be really disappointing. I mean, it is already disappointing, but I liked the preamble game. I forget what it was called, the one where you played as Zack. I don't know if you played that one or not, but that was fun. I liked learning about those. Crisis Core, there we go. I didn't play that for the PSP because I didn't have one, so it was cool to play that. But no, I love the story, I love the game. It's like, it is my childhood, And so I just really hope that they do it justice, and I can, assuming I live to see the final installment, because who knows, it could be 5 years, 20 years, who knows. But no, I will be excited to see where they take this game, this franchise. And to be frank, so I really love Final Fantasy VIII. I think the story of that is great too. Final Fantasy IX was a bit quirky. The characters were a bit different. But now if they remade 8, I wouldn't hate that either. But no, yeah,
And
I like the
you
game.
mentioned the pixelated. Like, is that going to be like a collection of the games as they stand, 1 through 6?
So what I read of it, or what I read was it was essentially going to have convenience enhancements, I believe it said. So I think it's going to look the same. It's just going to be like some various nuances that were likely annoying back in the day are going to be fixed. One thing that I'll say about Final Fantasy VII is that it's not a perfect game. Outside of not liking how it ended, I didn't love how they set up the side quests, because it definitely very much it's not open world, and I guess that's how the Midgar area was designed. It never was designed to be open world, but it just felt so confined, like you were so constrained to each area. So I really hope that like when they bring out the new one and you are in like it is supposed to be open world, that it truly is in fact open world, and it's not this like it pigeonholes you to go here or go there. Because when the game first started, so after you leave Midgar, you're supposed to meet your friends in Calm, which is a little town nearby, but you could totally skip that. You could go to a little chocobo farm, where if you were smart, you got the lure material, so you could get past the giant serpent that guarding the way to Junon. And so like I just hope that they keep some of that, where it's just, I mean, and not even keep it, that they expand upon it. The world is huge. Like they have so many options and ways to go. The other thing that I'll say about Final Fantasy VII, then we can switch to something else if you want, is I wonder how they're going to keep the progress from one game to another. Do you start back at level 1 or 7?
Yeah.
Where does your materia? Do you keep the materia, but it's all level 0? That will be interesting to see how they move forward, because they didn't give us access to all of the materia.
Right. So I would imagine because they want to hold it for later. Is that how it worked in the original? Like it was, you got all that stuff later?
I mean, there's some, right? Like Ultima, Meteor, Holy, things like that you don't get till later. But even the way the game was laid out, you didn't usually get like the third level fire or lightning magic until much later in the game. Even getting to the second level, you might have gotten around that point, but probably not. Like your magic, your materia leveled up a lot slower. And so, yeah, I'm just interested to see how they do that, how they, handle that, or incorporating the results from one game into the next one. Because I think, Mass Effect, they did that, where they would incorporate your decisions, and I wonder,
maybe they'll do it like they did, where you just like select the main thing, what you picked. I know, like maybe you do. I don't have any save data left over from that game where it would just transfer over.
Well, it should save in a cloud at the very least.
That's true. But yeah, like excited for 16. Whenever the second part of the remake comes out, I'm looking forward to that. And then that leads us to
another RPG game series, the Elder Scrolls series. For me, aside from Zelda, which I played growing up, this was the game that really got me into RPGs. Was this Oblivion when that came out? I'd never heard of it. It was on sale at GameStop. So I'm like, all right, we'll give it a shot. And then 100 hours later, I'm like, wow, that was amazing. And that came out 2006. And then we all know, like, arguably one of the best games ever, Skyrim, 2011. But since then, 12 years since the last Elder Scrolls game has been released. I know they've teased, like, if they're working on the new one, but my goodness gracious.
I mean, that and what GTA 5. GTA came out in 13.
Yeah, like they're both 2 generations ago now at this point.
Yeah.
And both of those games keep milking the cash cow of like, all right, they released a PS5 version of Skyrim.
That's the thing, right? They only do it because we keep buying it.
Because I want to play Elder Scrolls.
Exactly.
But
I
like,
want it to look as good as it did in my head.
but the state of the franchise. You talked earlier about how Nintendo does not allow glitches and things in their main games. Like their
Skyrim's
quality.
the opposite.
Oh, yeah, we're talking about the opposite. Like, and that's the developer. Like Bethesda, Fallout, Elders. Like it's almost like a running joke now that, all right, what bugs are going to be there at the start of this game?
Yeah.
So to me, with as long as it's been, like these bugs should be Nintendo-esque in terms of we shouldn't see them.
Yeah.
Like you've been working on this thing for 12 years now. It's nowhere near coming out. So by the time it comes out, like 15 years, probably.
Yeah.
There better not be floating horses or falling through the bottom of the world into oblivion. No pun intended. To me, that's the biggest thing that needs to change is like they need to have a better quality from the get-go with the series.
Do you think there's a lot of pressure in terms of like this game has to come out and it has to be good, otherwise this could sink the franchise? Or do you think like it's been pumped up so much by Skyrim, by Oblivion that they can absorb? Because Fallout to me is one where this next game has to be good. And I know we're talking about two separate games, but you know, Fallout 4, awesome.
They tie hand in hand, so we can talk about both at the same time. Well, you and I love Fallout.
Yeah. And we both didn't like the online
Elder Scrolls
either because we don't even talk about it, right? And they keep. No. I don't even know. Like, do a lot of people play that game?
Oh yeah, it's still going strong. It's still going strong. They released another expansion within the last 6 months.
Why didn't we like it?
And maybe that's why kind of like GTA, like people keep doing the online. So like, why are we gonna put into a new game when this is still working for us?
Yeah, it says they have over 21 million total players.
Yeah. I mean, if they keep releasing content, they must still be that. And you talk about the other online with the franchise from Bethesda. We wanted a Fallout 76 to be so good, and then it was so bad.
I even bought the like expansion pack or whatever, and it was yuck.
No, but I think the pressure's on both series. I think you're right. Skyrim, like especially nowadays, like kids who are playing games right now weren't even alive when Skyrim was released. I teach at an elementary school. I've never heard anybody talk about Skyrim. And there's a lot of gamers. We have 725 kids at the school I work at.
Right.
Oh, they talk about Warzone, they talk about Fortnite, they talk about Roblox, they talk about Minecraft, they talk about video games a lot. I've never once in 7 years heard anybody mention, man, Skyrim's so great.
Man, we're slaying out there tonight.
So the pressure is 100% on that. Like if this fails, like you got to question, like, have they lost their mantle as like a great RPG maker?
Yeah, but they've got so many games. I mean, between that, Fallout, is Rust a Bethesda game? The
Rust is
Doom is.
Doom is fantastic.
What's the other one where you're like fighting Nazis?
Wolfenstein.
There we go. So they have like a lot of like AAA titles under their belt, but it would be nice to get another Doom game too. I mean, maybe we should talk about the state of Bethesda.
Yeah,
Doom has been great. Would be awesome. I love Doom.
Like a multiplayer, that's the next step for them. Make that a co-op experience. That would be really fun. Yeah. Like powers that play off each other and everything.
Doom Slayer.
Yeah, you did that pretty good. But yeah, to me, their tent poles used to be Elder Scrolls and Fallout, but now I think Doom's success last few years, and I don't know, like and the state of the franchise for them is also, I'd love to see better combat.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Yes. And
like
Sky
they're
or and like
kind.
the Elder Scrolls.
Yes.
Sorry. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. There's really not much strategy.
Just
Yeah. That's it.
block.
Like so, and like that worked. I mean, when you think about it, for on the PS3, sure, that may have worked, but now we've all advanced as gamers in terms of like what we expect. So I think they have to take the next step there too, is like make a better combat system.
Mm-hmm. And
But
even
yeah,
for all the like the weapons, they were all pretty basic. You know what I mean? Like there
no,
was
yeah,
various tiers. You know what I mean? I forget it went
yeah,
from like what iron to steel. They had like what 8 to 10 different. They had bone. They had Daedric. They had glass. Right,
yeah,
but and I just feel like they could do so much more with that game.
yeah. I mean, imagine if they kind of went, oh gosh, Borderlands style, and like
Mm-hmm.
just all the like Borderlands guns, just you never know what you're gonna get.
Dude, if Elder Scrolls and Zelda had sex and had a baby, that's the baby I want to raise.
Yeah, that would be awesome. You take their gameplay and put it with Bethesda's world building and everything.
Mm,
That's a game
man,
right there.
hear that? Video
Yeah,
game sex. So
we
good.
come up with all the best ideas here
Yeah, seriously.
on sticks and skins.
And we don't even charge for it. This is all free. So you're
You're
welcome.
all welcome. You're welcome. You're
Yeah.
welcome. You and we don't have this on the list, but uh, Resident Evil.
I was
We
going to say,
talked
we
we
can't
talked
not
about
talk about it.
remakes.
Yeah.
So I mean, they've done a really good job at remaking. And I never played the first one. I played was 5 when you and I did it together, the co-op on it. And then
Mm-hmm.
since then, I've played every Resident Evil since then. I love it.
You
But
know
like
that.
like you said earlier, with like going back and playing games on retro, I tried that with Resident Evil just so I could say I played them,
It's just
and
not
those
fun.
games don't hold up.
Yeah. No, not at
But
all. Although, and yeah, like with RE2 and RE3, the remakes, they were great. Just the flippin' chasing.
yeah,
Oh, that wasn't there in the original. Like the characters themselves were there, but like literally being chased through an entire level is so. I get the suspense and it does add to it, but for me, it detracts from the game. Like the Resident Evil 4 remake, so far, I think I'm on chapter 8. Maybe there's 12 chapters, but so far it's been really good. All the improvements have been better. No real complaints. And there's only been one scene, and I'm pretty sure it was there in the original where you're chased, but you're only chased for like all of 10 seconds,
Right.
15 seconds. Yes, so
And
hopefully I don't run into that later in the game because you're right. I love these games.
yeah, and it's good because opening up to people like I'm older, but like kids who maybe have never they're not going to go back and play PlayStation 1,
Mm.
but now they're getting to go into it. Their numbered series have been the last 2 were absolutely fantastic.
Oh my gosh, Village was so good.
And when you think about before Village, Resident Evil was kind of being thought of like, is this franchise dead?
Mm-hmm.
So they've turned it around big time by going back and kind of embracing the roots.
Survival horror. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
RE7, that like first part where like you chop off your leg,
Oh, yeah.
dude. Like, yeah, no,
Yeah.
that game, you're right. That one re-injected life into the franchise, and it showed that like you can be like
Yeah.
a video game and be scary. Not like scary, but you know what I mean. Like be suspenseful, keep people. Because like when I was a kid, sure, just the idea of a zombie like RE2, it ruined taking showers for like years for me. Because like every 5 seconds, I'd be peeking out because I thought I heard a zombie.
Right.
Like that stuff messed you up as kids. Thanks a lot, mom and dad. But no, I mean, yeah, I definitely like where this franchise is headed.
And
Oh, sorry, I have a lot of gas.
they went to, I think they went to action heavy because there's one that I don't remember the name of it. There's one like where it was a co-op Resident Evil, and you and I
6.
tried playing it. Yeah,
It
we tried it, and we're
sucks.
like,
Yeah,
yeah, we're like, I never finished. I don't know if you did,
nope.
but
That's the
that's where
only
it's like,
one.
yeah. But I think they realized, all right, we're going way too action heavy. 5 was
Yeah,
fun, but it was like too I never felt like we didn't have what we needed.
yeah. 4 and 5 were a lot of fun. especially 5 because you and I, because I was Chris and you played as Shiva or
Mhm.
whatever her name was,
Mhm.
dummy thick, yeah. And Chris was clearly on steroids. I mean, come
Yeah,
on.
he's ripped.
But yeah, I really hope they remake that too.
Oh yeah,
And
that'd
which
be a
is
lot
what
of
like
fun to do.
Zelda could do. Like Zelda, like I listen, people say, "Oh, it's cheap, it's a cash grab," and you just said it. The younger generation has not played these games. Like make them better, and you have an entirely new fan base. Of, oh shoot,
Hmm.
Mario 64, but in like 2023, this game's dope. Oh look, you just yeah, set yourself up for another 20 years.
Yeah, and they're a business. Who cares if it's a cash grab?
Yeah, the fans don't
Like,
care. I don't care.
no,
Grab my cash.
yeah, please take it.
Yeah.
uh,
What else we got?
so,
So we've hit a lot of the major ones.
I
I mean,
mean,
there's,
new Star Wars coming out here
oh yes,
soon.
the Star Wars. So that's another franchise for which I don't know about you, but I really liked the, oh my gosh, what was it called?
Fallen Order.
Yes,
No, yeah, was that the
no,
first one?
2019. Yeah, Fallen Order. Um, that was a really good game. A Cal. I think it was the, and I feel like
Yeah.
at some way that's gonna loop into either one of the shows.
Oh
Not
yeah,
the
well the way
Mandalorian.
because they just had a bunch of Star Wars releases today actually because there's some Star Wars convention, and
Mm,
there's so many like either TV like animated show or like they're starting to bring them into the real life things. So I think you're 100% right. We're eventually going to get a live action
Version of Cal and his story.
which is fine because I liked it. I like
Yeah.
that story. So it's
Hmm.
a Jedi Survivor that comes out here at the end of the month. Yeah, I really liked Fallen Order a lot. I loved the mechanics. That's the biggest thing I think with a lot of these games is like how do you have the mechanics for what we see on the big screen of like being able to deflect laser blasts of
Yeah.
using the force because that's I think honestly is the trickiest part of like making it seamless and intuitive with the controls and that's
Yeah.
another one of the main reasons why I like this a lot is that like blocking and fighting and using the force it all just made sense and it worked really really well.
Yeah, and it's the first one that really, at least I played a lot of Star Wars. In fact, that's one of the first PC games I ever played way back in the day. It was like
Knights of the Old Republic.
yeah,
Yeah.
and like this was the first one that really made me feel like you were actually a Jedi.
Mm-hmm.
Like they had, and then just to, I just thought of it since you brought that up. The Hogwarts Legacy game.
Yep.
They nailed the mechanics of that.
I felt like
Like
a wizard.
yeah, and like so you're right. Like they just have to everything else will fall into place if you can nail making yourself feel like what everyone wants to feel. They
Who
want it.
has
They
not
want to.
sorry
Who
go ahead.
hasn't? No, who hasn't?
Marvel has yet
No.
to make a game that you feel like X-Men or like a Beast or Wolverine or stuff.
Yeah.
I liked the Guardians of the Galaxy game. That one you did because it's just as what's
It
his
was
name?
fun. Star Lord.
Star Lord, yeah, like he just has guns and so like that all worked. Um, but yeah, like I wish Marvel could go and take a page out of these guys' book because you're right. Hogwarts, you felt like a wizard. This, you felt like a Jedi. You felt like Star Lord. I've never felt like Wolverine or like I've just like Iron Man or whatever. Like these games, they're too cartoony. They're
Yeah.
too. I mean, I know it's fiction. It's obviously fiction. What? It's not real? Oh, crazy. Um,
Right,
but it
but
just
like you said, they nailed it in the other ones, and
yeah.
my God, and you're right. Like Guardians worked because I think they didn't have to worry about crazy abilities.
Mm-hmm.
I think
And
you nailed that one. That like
yeah.
that's and they had that Avengers game. Oh my God, that was so
Oh,
bad.
I know. I had a lot of hope for that. I was really hopeful,
Mm,
but it just,
so bad.
yeah, no, it reminded me of, oh gosh, there's another. It's a free to play game. It's not the one with the DC heroes. I feel like there's a. Nah, never mind. I'm not gonna think of it. But it just felt like almost like a free to play, like Anthem. It almost felt like
Hmm.
Anthem. It just didn't feel good. And that's where like okay you can have a great story but man if your gameplay or if your like mechanics suck
Yep.
To
No one's
me,
gonna stay with the story.
yeah, like I can suffer through a story with some holes. I'll just skip the cutscenes. But if the
Yeah.
mechanics suck, I'll pass.
Yeah.
Although there's only a couple of games that we sort of suffered through. That first game on the PS5, um,
Oh
where
yeah.
everything sucked.
The light one.
Yeah, just because
All we did the whole game was just complain about it, but it was the only PS5 only co-op game at the time.
yeah, so we've dealt
So,
with it. And then that other shooter on the PS5 where you landed on the planet and
oh yeah, yeah. And they kept calling you the name of it. Oh, what was the name of that one? That's how much it stuck with us. But that one we just kept playing
yeah.
because it's like,
But the mechanics, like, but I just recall that the story was fine. It was just that the gameplay was just like,
no,
this
it was
sucks.
not so good. Yeah.
All right, what are the other major franchises that we're missing, or at least games that are coming up? So, Diablo, a little bit of a different kind of game, but the Diablo 4 is coming up in June or July. That looks
I really
awesome.
hope they get rid of the
top
like.
down.
No, not that. Like we tried playing 3, but we got to a place like when we had like we kept having like we got to a point that we had to stop and we played the next time. The whole map was different, so everything we had done,
That was 2.
and we had to whatever that was like, and that was so frustrating.
3 they
like
didn't do that.
We stopped playing
Yeah.
2 because we're like we could never. By the time we got to where we needed to do, like it was time for us to be done again.
Mm-hmm.
So hopefully 4 doesn't do that.
It does, and I don't recall 3 doing that, so I can't imagine they would go back. I'm just looking through, just the games that are coming out here in the near future, the next couple of months. The Gollum game, I don't know a ton about that, but that's supposed to come out
either.
in May.
How have we not talked about Madden?
Oh yeah, Madden.
Like the state of franchise of franchise.
I see.
Like you and I have been Madden people since
04, 05 is, or actually no, I my first one was in high school, so like 01, 02. Yeah, it's been a long time.
And then last year was just
such a disappointment.
The passing mechanics just.
Yeah, and it wouldn't even been that, right? If it was just, it was a lot of things. It was any defender gets near you, and even if you have Mahomes or Allen, you get pressured and you throw a terrible ball. It's like, no, like that's not how this stuff works. My biggest thing has always been if you run a crossing route and the receiver it like somehow magnetizes the linebacker. I have thrown so many interceptions because I throw it thinking, oh hey, he should have run past said linebacker. No, he just glues to him and then he picks it off and oh my gosh. But yes,
that's because Madden uses so many like procedural like what is it called? Like they pre-film them, so they're animations, pre-recorded animations.
Yes.
Whereas like I think 2K was more of a like reactive system, like even way back when 2K was there. Madden relies on that's why you have all these glitchy looking things, because they go into a pre-made animation when the players don't. It's not natural, and I think that's what it is. Was all right. That linebacker starts to glue there because that's the animation. But but EA at least seems to realize they're in a hole with Madden, because I've seen a lot of stories by like Kotaku and Polygon who say that this is a make or break year for Madden. It's the last year that they have the exclusive rights.
Good.
And last year was not good for them.
No.
And so hopefully this makes them innovate and do it seems all their focus is on the microtransactions of the Madden Ultimate Team. Yeah. It seems like that's all they care about.
No, and even the innovation, you don't need to, football is football. You don't have to innovate that much, right? Just make it accurate. From the vision cone to the all of the special to what it is now.
I hate the X factors and crap.
Oh my gosh, yeah, your player, if they're a 99 overall, then they're just a 99 overall.
They get to a point where they have infinite stamina. That's why you see those clips of the people running the whole field after an interception, because their dude has their X thing highlighted so they don't tire. Yeah. So all they do is outrun everybody till everyone else fatigues and score a touchdown.
Yeah. Now the Madden Ultimate Team I think is cool, but make a better game.
Well, isn't it since PS2, you can't trade more than 3 assets for anything.
Makes no sense.
How have they not advanced beyond that?
It's the franchise mode that really needs a lot of
Yeah.
help.
But like, how has Madden since like 2004 been stuck in okay, you can trade 3 things for 3 things?
Yeah.
What happens to like the Washington trade for RG3 where they gave up 5 or 6 picks? The RG3 like
All the
how
ones
has
in the recent history with Watson and
yeah
Wilson and
yeah like things like that annoy the crap out of me.
um,
And then they
all right.
limit you can't have more than 10 picks. What? I
Since
want
when?
12, 15 draft picks.
Yeah, seriously, I'll give up everything. Just give me. Yeah, no,
Yeah, because that's the funnest part of Madden is like drafting the rookies and trying to develop them into a good team.
100%. All right, I'm looking at a couple other bigger name games that are coming out. I guess these are just games and not franchises. So, did you and I ever play the Baldur's Gate 2?
I don't think so.
I must play that with Cobb. But they have a new Baldur's Gate 3. Must have been like the first one in the last 10 or 15 years. It's coming out in August. That'll be a co-op one that I'm looking forward to. I've never been real big on games like Street Fighter, but there's a Street Fighter that comes out in June.
Oh yeah, just the straight fighting games.
Yeah, I've never really been big on that. One that I am actually interested in to see what it's kind of about is the Minecraft Legends that comes actually out later this month.
Yeah, is that like gonna still be the building of it with a story, or
Yeah, it's what
like I don't know much about that one, but I hear a lot about it.
Discover the mysteries of Minecraft Legends, a new action-style game. Lead your allies in heroic battles to defend the overworld from destructive piglins. It looks like it's something totally entirely different. So yeah, that comes out April.
So soon.
Yeah, but it looks to be very.
Is it like RTS?
Similar.
SE?
RTS?
Like real-time strategy. When you say like protect the overworld, I think of like you command a whole bunch of legions and move them around. Is it that type of thing?
You know what? I probably should have been a bit more prepared. Coral and I still like to play Minecraft from time to time, and so.
We did that over Thanksgiving. It was a lot of fun.
I knew that was coming up later this month. Actually, in 11 days.
Yeah.
But no, I'm just trying to think. Are other major franchises that may or may not have games coming out? Madden, we talked about. I mean, we don't play NBA games or FIFA. I wish they would have an NCAA game. I thought they had talked about.
That is coming. It is coming.
Yeah.
That'll be fun to have that back.
I mean,
and it's no longer FIFA either. EA dropped the FIFA name. I think it's called EAFC now Football Club.
Well, did they change the PGA Tour game as well? Because that one's just called. It's not called EA. It's just called PGA Tour at the Masters or something.
Yeah, and I think 2K also did a golf game.
Yeah. Yeah, which is good, right? Like, I mean,
golf.
Am I
golf
partial to Madden? You know what? Oh my gosh, back to Madden. What I would love, Lawrence, more than anything in the world. So there's so many voice clips of John Madden. There's so many.
Oh yeah.
To have another one where they take all of his voice clips, have it be him and Al Michaels. Al Michaels, he can say the players' names because he's currently alive. And just because they say stuff based on situation or context, you've got to have enough Madden voice clips to be able. That would be awesome to in a way bring him back to life.
Well, you could do it like have him be like the third person in the booth. Yeah, so like when specific things happen, he can comment on it.
I'm not a huge fan.
That'd be awesome.
Of the other guy currently.
No, I'm not either.
What's his name?
I'm just saying it might. Logistically, that might be the Charles Davis.
Charles Davis, yeah. Charles, you never will hear this, neither will anyone you know, but man, I am not a huge fan. Because for the longest time, I thought the stuff you said in Madden was stuff they made you say, and then you brought it into your actual commentating, so it makes me think that those are your actual words and statements. Yuck. Don't like many of them.
Yeah. So.
But yeah, I mean, then in Call, I guess maybe we can just end on Call of Duty, because Rocket League is the same. I mean, we play that a ton, but that's just been the same forever and ever. But Call of Duty, now that's one where we usually start off playing a little bit of multiplayer, but then almost exclusively get into Warzone. And this one, we talked about it last night. It's It's been okay. I definitely like the other. I mean, even after playing this current one, and I feel like we win more often in this current one. But even with all that said, I still liked most everything about the Warzone one better.
I think, well, their player numbers, I think, would echo that.
Yeah.
I like that it's if you play smarter, you have a better chance of winning. That's why I like this one better.
Yeah.
Like I've watched a few clips of like people playing Warzone 1 stim glitching around things, and like I do not, like I did it because
Yeah, I don't
you
miss
kind
that.
of had to, but like I don't miss people being able to get 60 kills in a round and take out a full team on their own consistently because
Yeah.
they have unlimited stims.
But like things like snipers don't seem to be as relevant. I know you were, hitting a couple shots yesterday, but for the most part, it's just like,
No, sniping was way better in Warzone 1,
yeah.
100%.
Um, I don't know.
And that's people's main complaint. Like they want the movement, but they are bringing a lot of things into season 3. They're bringing back redeploy balloons.
That'll be
They're
nice.
bringing back Gulag reentry kits. They're changing the Gulag. They're bringing in the perks you can find, and you can buy perks from buy stations.
Okay.
They're bringing back deployable buy stations now, which will help with the we can't get to a buy situations.
Mm-hmm.
So I think they're actually starting to just bring a lot of Warzone 1 stuff into Warzone 2.
Gosh, oh, good. I mean,
Which to me, like, that's great. Combine the two. Caldera, I think everyone can be like, yeah, forget Caldera. Put in a map
Verdansk.
rotation of all
my
the
gosh.
yeah. Put in rotation Verdansk in this map, 'cause I like this map. I think it's pretty well done, especially now you got the redeploy balloons that can help get up the one really big peak they have.
Mm-hmm.
But like, why not bring a rotation of maps in? Imagine these mechanics on Verdansk, especially like with drill charges that could help you when you're in downtown with people
Oh my
on the
gosh,
roof
on the
now.
roof? Yeah, no, for real. Like there's sorry. It's not to say that there's nothing to like. Like there are some things that it does make it a bit more fair. For which, as you said, like the drill charges are a huge, um,
Mm-hmm.
a huge help. But I think for a lot of, I mean, God, I'm so thankful that they got rid of having to be inside someone's book bag. Ugh.
Right.
Talk about the
Yeah.
worst part of Blackout.
Yeah. Oh God, Blackout. We played Blackout in terms of we stayed. Sometimes we just go up on the fence and lay down for 15 minutes so the circle made us move. So we've advanced a lot in our gameplay. With
Yeah,
that.
honestly, if I could go back in time, that'd be one thing that I would change, not being such a coward.
Yeah, like I think now we're pretty aggressive. And like end game, we try to play a little bit more to win. I feel like, and I think we would have developed that in Blackout if we actually tried.
Mm-hmm.
Like we would have developed the ability to take people out and stuff. We were just too. I think. I think maybe that was because if you died, there's no chance of coming back. Like here, it's like, okay, yeah, maybe we're mad we got killed, but we still can come back. The game's not over. And I mean, we won yesterday with
All of us winning our gulag and coming back and getting a win.
Yeah, it's a nasty pick on my part. Yeah.
nasty clutch. But also, how is it safer for me to hide in a bush than go into a house?
No, yeah, so say nobody saw it, but Lawrence did have a nice stretch of killing 3-4 guys at the end to clutch the victory.
But in a bush, like I took advantage of a really bad glitch that you can't see anybody in bushes.
Although when they switched that on Caldera, where like the bushes provided no.
That was worse.
Yes, that was worse. So I'll take it this way because rarely is that the case.
That's true.
Right? They've essentially they push the circle, so you're pretty well wide open, or there's like one house that everyone knows where you are. But yeah, that guy that just dove, it's like giving up.
So it was me and one guy for those, and like he was around the corner. He just came dolphin diving across the corner and like. It's like he was sacrificing himself for us to get the win.
Which I appreciate.
Yeah, thank you. But it's like, what were you thinking? And that's like we got it in the match before that. Corey was the last one alive. It was 1v1v1. Corey got downed.
I didn't win.
In the gas, and the guy ran past him without finishing him off, and he ended up dying because his game awareness was 0.
Yeah, I got up, killed him, then got killed by the guy that. Yeah.
Yeah, but like if he would have finished you, he might have had a chance.
True. Yeah, because I definitely killed him.
But I mean, that's where we have came a long way. We're much more aware, and I think we're smarter players than most people. We may not always have the skills to turn that into wins, but like even there, like we're always communicating to each other. Hey, it's 1v1v1. You and Elmer telling me that last night changed how I played the end.
Right.
Like because I may not have noticed it right then, but have it like if I played with other people, they may not tell me that, and we may not have got the win.
Boom.
So we're the best.
Simply put.
And yeah, so that was our best. I mean, I've only done 2, but our best sticks conversation. Tomorrow we will be doing a mock draft again. We will be switching the order. Corey will be taking the odd numbered picks this time, and there will be trades allowed. I'll take evens. And we will also give our review of the Mario movie, which he will be watching later on today, and I watched this morning.
Boom.
So if you don't like football, watch the draft and then stay for the Mario talk at the end. Little carrot at the end of the draft stick.
Carrot.
Yeah, that'll draw the kids in, carrots.
Boom.
But yeah, thank you all for joining us. I did see a few people throughout the show popping in for a little bit, so thank you to those viewers. If you're watching this on YouTube, thank you for following, liking. We will be creating other social media accounts on Twitter soon. So make sure to be following us on that when they pop up.
Boom, baby.
For Corey Dungan, I am Lawrence Foster. Thank you for tuning in to Sticks and Skins. We will see you for the mock draft tomorrow.
Boom. Cheers.